That is your first look at the pilot program. Skins and Charms make it their way to Rainbow Six Siege very, very soon. Welcome back to the Six Majors. My name is Justin Kruger, community developer on Rainbow Six Siege, and today we're going to be breaking down all the things that you need to know about esports and the pilot program and the Challenger League and where the teams are standing through midway season. And also, we got a few updates for the Season 8 finals in Brazil. And, of course, the very first details about the Sixth Invitational. To help me break down all these details, please give a big round of applause and a big welcome to my awesome panelists, Maxime Vial and Carrie Lambert, esports managers on Rainbow Six Siege. And, of course, we're joined by Dizzle, the coach of Fnatic, to help us break down some of those standings, where each team is standing within their respective region, and to give us a little bit of insight into the APAC region. But, Max, let's start off with the pilot program. We just saw the first look at some of these charms. Tell us a little bit about what the pilot program is and what players can expect.
Yes, so the pilot program is this initiative we started and communicated on a couple of months ago, and it's really a program for us when we want to partner. We are partnering up with some of the big organizations in the seed in order to bring more stability to the player environment. So what we are doing with them is we are actually sharing revenues on several items that are in the game that the players can get, and what we are just unveiling now are the new team branded items. So basically for each team there will be a weapon skin and a charm that you can put on, of course, on any weapon. And this is really for the fan and the community the most direct way to show their support to their favorite players and organizations.
So when a player buys one of these charms or skins for their operator, for their team, the team gets a portion of that.
Yes, there's 30% of those revenues that are shared with the organization. So you're a fan of Fnatic, you're a fan of EG, Vitality, you buy the items, and 30% of all the revenues for those items goes to those guys directly. Really the best way to show your support to them.
Yeah, now we're kind of expanding our rev share program from what we started about a year and a half ago. How is it that expanding in more ways?
Yeah, so basically we started with a similar initiative about a year and a half ago, as you just said, and there's also another part to it, which are the Pro League charms that you already know. So these are those golden chibis in the game.
The Pro League gold sets, yeah.
Yeah, and for those there is also the rev share program that applies. How does it work? So basically 21% of all the revenues of those items goes to the teams that are part of the program, and 9% goes straight into the prize money of the Sixth Invitational.
We'll have a quick update on that a little bit later in the show, so you do not want to miss that.
But it's really another direct way to support your favorite teams, because as the prize money of the Invitational grows, well, this is all what's going to the players at the end.
And so just to be clear, there's two ways of supporting your teams. Either directly through the pilot program that goes directly to the team of that choosing that you purchase. So if you purchase Team Liquid, if you purchase a Fnatic's charm and skin, then that goes directly to that team. But then we also have the Pro League gold sets that get split amongst the Pro League teams, and a portion of that goes to the Sixth Invitational. Max, is this really kind of an evolution of our esports ecosystem, of this rev share program that we're focusing on?
Yeah, this is really, and to us, you know, like as the scene is maturing, we want to bring more and more stability. So for us, partnering with those big orgs is really an important thing, because they're the ones supporting their players, they're the one providing them a stable environment in which they can compete and focus entirely on the game, because like they are professional players and this is their living, this is their career, and the better conditions they are able to do it in, well, the better they will be playing.
Yeah, it's one of the ways that we really want to support all of these big orgs. One of the big orgs that recently came into the Pro League a few months ago is Fnatic. Dizzle, as the coach of Fnatic, what does it mean to you to see your charm in-game, your team's logo in-game, and what does it mean to you that these things are helping you and your guys be supported for the long term?
I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, it's a great celebration to begin with of all the organizations that have joined our scene recently and steadily. So it's a great way to sort of congratulate the success of Rainbow. But like you touched on it, it helps with stability and helps with support from the teams. It allows for, you know, further development and investment into the teams in Rainbow so they can continue to improve and make a better appearance.
I remember there was a really emotional Twitter post from Magnet a few months ago where he was really happy to announce that he's finally like a full-time pro player, and it's one of these initiatives that is really kind of helping that, right?
It has, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as an Australian especially, we don't have many people that are able to sort of commit themselves full time to something like this. So for Magnet to sort of make that transition and be fully supported in his lifestyle to be able to continue to do this, part of this pilot program is a big step towards it.
Cool. Carrie, we're getting our first look at some of the charms here, but when can people find out more information about these charms and skins coming to the pilot program, and when are they going to be released?
Yeah, so it's a lot of information to handle, but more information will be coming out later today in a blog post, and I'm happy to say that Grim Sky is the release.
Grim Sky is going to be the release for these pilot program charms, the 10 charms and skins for each of these teams. It's going to be really exciting. Now, let's take a look back at one of these, the timeline of where we're standing right now within the esports ecosystem. So we showed this off a few months ago back in May at the Atlantic City, and not too much has changed here. The main thing that you'll see here is the DreamHack Montreal, obviously that becoming a new aspect of our DreamHack circuit. And of course, we're here at the 6 Majors, midway through the Season 8 Pro League Finals, celebrating Siege. And I think, you know, one of the things that we really focused on last time that we were up here, we talked about Challenger League and how the importance of Challenger League. And we're making a few changes to how Challenger League works. Carrie, please explain what those changes are.
Yeah, so we're actually moving Challenger League to be a lot similar to Pro League in the league system. So it's actually going to be a 3-month league system where each team plays twice a week instead of Pro League where they play once a week. It's going to be the same as Pro League, so we're, in regards to points. So the winning team is going to get 3 points. If you tie, that's 1 point, and obviously a loser, you know, you get 0 points. So
this is really mirroring a little bit more what Pro League is.
Exactly, exactly. And at the end of that 3 months, we actually have a playoff. It's a best of 3 single elimination playoff to determine the seeding for Challenger League.
So as a reminder, those bottom 2 teams, the 7th, 8th place from Pro League, they will have their chance.
Spicy place to be.
Yeah, they're in a spicy place. They're you know, that 7th place will have to play in those relegation, and that 8th place will need to be relegated out. But Challenger League is no joke. It's one of our. It can be a really strong way to feed into the Pro League, and as we've seen, Team Secret, aka IDK, they came from Challenger League. And they've seen such strong performance within the region and here at offline events as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think if we can take a look at the standings for the European Pro League, you can really see sort of how important the Challenger League is when you take a look at it. Their Team Secret is sitting at 2nd place, and they did so great during this. They did an
amazing job at this event. Unfortunately, they just lost, but they lost it to the #1 team, G2. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, a huge shout out to those guys. You played passionately, and it was really enjoyable to watch. But yeah, so again, going back to the Challenger League, you can see that 7th and 8th place is a tight place to be. 8th place, like we mentioned, gets automatically relegated into the Challenger League. There's no relegation game there. And then 7th place does get that relegation match against the 2nd place Challenger League team.
Yeah, so if the season were to end right now, Supremacy would be relegated out, and Chaos would be have to play in that relegation match. Yes. But obviously, thankfully for those 2 teams, we have a lot more Pro League to play. We have 3 more months and 7 more games, so it's going to, they have chances to really climb up the ladder. Dizzle, what are your thoughts on the EU Pro League and the EU teams that are showing up at the event this time?
I mean, I think EU are probably the strongest region. You notice there on the ladder that the top 6 teams were the 6 European representatives at this competition. So they've managed to adapt to the best of 1 format that's been represented, but they're also delivering the best of 3 format here as well. And the top 2 teams in EU were the ones that we just watched in the semis. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes Pro League success doesn't always translate to the success in the majors or in these events, but sometimes the success in the majors doesn't always reflect exactly what is going on in Pro League. As we take a look at the North America lineup, Obey is in last place. They're in that 8th seed spot, but they did qualify for the quarterfinals yesterday.
Yeah, they made it all the way through to quarterfinals. Great on these guys. They played their heart out, and unfortunately they didn't make it through the semis. But it just goes to show, that it doesn't always translate. And I think something interesting about the North American standings as we're looking at them is sort of why we made this transition to the league-based format. So take Cloud9 for example. In the old format, you lose 2 play days in a row and you were out. There is no way to climb your way back. And in the beginning of the season, Cloud9 was sitting, at the bottom place, and they've managed to climb their way up to 6. And I think that's really impressive, and it sort of shows, why we made this transition to the league-based system.
Really amazing story for Cloud9 coming out of that Challenger League, and as we mentioned before, there is a lot of Pro League left to play, so they have a lot of more chances to climb up that ladder. And I imagine those final few games towards the end of the season are going to get really intense for those bottom 2 teams and the teams fighting for that 1 and 2 spot. Dizzle, what are your thoughts on the North America region? Obviously, we have Rogue versus EG, that is the 2nd place versus 3rd place in that region coming up after this panel. What are your thoughts on those teams?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been 2 very strong teams in North America. You've got SK sitting out in front. They had a very good, strong start of the season. Obey, not so much. But their qualifiers were very incredible, and they've shown up well here as well. I think like 7-6, 7-6 loss yesterday to Rogue. So I think they're going to have a really good back end of the season and be able to sort of claw their way out of the spot.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot here. Care to make a prediction between Rogue and EG? We've already seen G2 advance to the finals tomorrow, but who you got for the next game?
I mean, I'd like to see Rogue. They haven't been to the grand finals before. They're a talented team. They didn't have a great day yesterday. It'd be interesting to see what maps they let through, but I think Rogue might have a deeper map pool than EG, so if they're good with their map bans, they could take it.
So Dizzle thinks Rogue. All right, we'll hold you to that. We'll see after this panel they're going to face off. Now let's take a look at the LATAM standings as well. This region is stacked. And towards the top of the region, it is pretty intense. Carrie, what are you seeing here?
Well, what stands out to me about the LATAM standings is actually the top here. You see that Team Liquid and Immortals are actually tied at 14 points. However, what makes the difference here is the round differential. You can see that Team Liquid has a 2-point round differential lead over Immortals, which is what gives them that edge over Immortals. However, if you look under them, you see that Team 1 and FaZe Clan are also tied at 13 points, but FaZe Clan has an 11-point round differential and Team 1 has a 7-point round differential. So what's important here is that Team 1 actually beat FaZe Clan in a head-to-head, and so that's actually more important. So winning is actually more important than the round differential. So just to give everyone a quick reminder, the importance of it is that W, winning at the top, and then we have head-to-head, and that's second most important, and then round differential at the bottom for sort of how we judge the points.
So winning will always be most important.
Yeah, winning is always, you always want to win.
You always want to win, but those rounds do make a difference. If you're fighting for that 1 or 2 seed or that 7th or 8th seed, you're going to really have to pull some stops out in order. Grab the W, grab those rounds, just get anything in order to not get relegated out of the league. Dizzle, what are your thoughts on the LATAM region right now?
I mean, it's a little bit off trend compared to the other 2. Like, you've got Liquid up the top, which didn't have a great performance here, and you've got Immortals up the top, which also not so much a great performance here, and you've got Ninja sitting down in 7th, which have had a really strong performance here. So, it sort of directly opposes the EU region, where maybe the best of 1 format doesn't sort the Latin American playstyles, and the BO3 might be more what they prefer. Yeah,
BO3 is offline performance. For your team, how is playing online versus offline differ for you guys?
For us, it's huge. I mean, the average ping in our region, even just playing together locally, is 40 to 50, and we thought that was okay. But boot camping in Europe, we're sitting on like 6 to 9, and all of a sudden you realize maybe it's not. But yeah, offline's even better than that again. This game was made for offline. It's brilliant.
Great. Now, speaking of the APAC region, you guys have a bit of a different format. Could you explain a little bit about the format that you guys have in the APAC region?
Yeah, absolutely. So we play 7 play days through 7 weeks, but we verse the team twice. So we play 2 best of 1s back to back. So rather than playing them in the front end and then taking the break and coming back, we'll play that team twice. So, but in 2 best of 1s is how they're scored.
And how are your regions shaping up? What do you think your chances are to make it to the finals?
Well, the interesting thing about our region is after we've played our play days, we then go to playoffs in each of our sub-regions. So the top 4 teams from each sub-region will compete with each other for the top 2 spot in each sub-region. They'll then go to the APAC finals, which is held in Tokyo this year in the middle of October. And those 2 teams from each sub-region will compete for the top 2 spot to go to Rio.
Top 2 spots from that region go on to Rio in November, and the top 2 spots from all regions will be competing in Rio this November. And if we take a look at where some of the details there, obviously it's November 17th to 18th in Rio, and the prize pool is $275,000. Max, this is the first time we're ever going to have Rainbow Six Siege in a huge stadium with over 10,000 seats.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I mean, I remember like when we were there last year in Sao Paulo, not exactly the same city, but in Brazil as well. The Brazilian crowd was amazing, astonishing, such support, so much pride, and I'm really like very excited at the idea of getting back there and seeing how it's going to be in this massive arena in Rio.
Max, I cannot wait. I mean, it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Tickets are still available for Season 8 finals in Rio, so if you can make your way down to Brazil and Rio this November, pick up a ticket. Yeah. Or if you're down there already, buy the tickets. We have many still on sale, still available right now. Now, let's take a look back at the 6th Invitational before we get into some of the details, and let's take a look back with the after movie.
I don't think people understand how much this means. The game's like 2.5 years old, and it's getting big now, and it's going fast.
6th Invitational really is like the next level. Devs, fans, pros, streamers, YouTubers, so literally everyone in the community of Siege is here.
It's everything. It's your entire life building up to one of the greatest moments, if not the greatest moment of your life.
The 16 best teams joined us here, 8 remain.
Psycho takes down Aces. Y3S, can he make it work? No! Black Dragon. MBK and AG moves on!
HFD from behind, and now LB1. Gogo gets the double! They go down!
Corner Eclipse gets one. Eclipse two, huge, but traded off by MBK. Evil Geniuses will go to your grand final.
All-Stars time, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, let's go! So they've been challenged to a knife fight. It's a full rush from both teams as they smokes come out.
Shot goes prone, up 4K round for his team. EG says no thank you. Map 1 goes to them. 5-2 for EG, and Necron still uncontested. EG 1 map away from the championship.
I fucking hate losing. I hope you do too. So then let's fucking win the game instead. Let's go back on stage, boys. We have this. Let's go. Let's go.
Baiting it out, goes for the ADS. Necron can't hit his shot, and Fabian wins it. How does that happen? The Pengu, there's only one defender left to deny this, and it's not going to happen. Penta wins.
They start to defuse. Pengu goes for one on the Young. Can he go the second? They're on the known as the best team in the world.
Man, just watching that gives me goosebumps. It gives me
The
so
feels.
much emotion, so many feels.
Oh,
man.
so many feelings, man. That was such incredible memory, and we could actually have a rematch here.
Could have a rematch
at the
with
6th major
EG
in Paris.
G2, yeah,
that would be an
amazing.
incredible match. I mean, of course, Rogue could put a great performance. I hope they do, but the rematch with EG could be incredibly exciting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you look back at that, I mean, the 6th Invitational is really the world championship for Rainbow Six Siege. It's one of our biggest events of the year. What kind of details can you share about this event?
Yeah, so the event, of course, will be once again taking place in Montreal, in the hometown of the development team of Rainbow Six Siege. We're very excited to welcome everyone from the community, you know, the players, the fans, the developers, all the content creators, everyone who makes this community as great as it is. The event will be taking place from February 11th to 17th. And as I mentioned earlier when mentioning revenue sharing, the prize money of the event has already gone up 150K. We put 500K at the beginning, and you, by your support, by acquiring those golden chibi charms that are the Pro League charms, you've already raised it to 650K. So already a great performance, and I'm very confident we're going to be breaking up the million. This is going to be our first $1 million event in Rainbow Six Siege. Super stoked about that.
That's really exciting. Obviously, I mean, having $1 million event would be so special.
Yeah.
And you know, we started at 500,000 for the Six Invitational, and as you saw in that graphic, it jumped up 150,000. So each time that anybody buys those Pro League golden sets, it does add on to that that total amount, which is really crazy. So already, it's one of the largest prize pools that we've ever had.
It is. It is.
That's so exciting. And now, Max, when can people pick up the tickets for the Six Invitational?
So the tickets will be here, will be available in about a month. But before we jump into, but there's also the standings for the region.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go into the standings. Who's qualified for the Six Invitational so far?
Yes. So how are teams gonna be able to get there? So first of all, and I think it's a surprise to no one, the team who wins tomorrow here at the Six Major in Paris will be the first one to earn its tickets to the Six Invitational. After that, in about 3 weeks, we will have DreamHack Montreal, which will be the second offline qualifying event. So be sure to tune into this one. We've already have a great lineup of teams ready to duke it out there. It will be followed, of course, and as always, by our Pro League finalists, the 8 teams, the 2 best teams from each of our 4 regions, NA, EU, Latin America, and APAC, that will earn the tickets to the event. After that will be DreamHack Winter, taking place in Sweden. This will be in early December, and this will be our final offline qualifying event for the Invitational. And after that, of course, in January, the Open qualifiers. 5 slots here, and of course 1 slot to each region. And the last one, well, we decided to give in to the Latin American region, because as you all know, Liquid is the current reigning champion of the Pro League, and overall Latin America has been putting out a great performance. We saw the standings, how stacked the region is. Even though it didn't always translate here at the Major, it is still a very, very strong region. And there is also the fact that we have 2 offline qualifying events, one taking place in NA, the DreamHack Montreal, another one taking place in EU, DreamHack Winter. And when you look at this, for those APAC and LATAM teams, it is sometimes a bit hard to attend those events. So looking at the performance of LATAM, we thought it was only fair that they're the one that get this additional slot for the Invitational.
Only fair that they get that slot. And I just want to point out something here on this graph. There are a lot of ways to qualify for the Six Invitational.
Yeah.
As if you're just a group of guys with guys or girls that are diamond ranked and want to compete on the best level with teams like Fnatic, with teams like G2 and EG. There's quite a few ways to qualify.
Yeah, there's actually like half of them are the ways. I would say the Paris Major now, like we know that is mostly Pro League teams, but technically any team could already qualify for this one. And then DreamHack Montreal, DreamHack Sweden, those both has BYOC, bring your own computer events, so you can qualify with your stack of friends if you manage to beat those Challenger League teams, those Pro League teams. Of course, it's going to be a tough road, but there is still potential for that. And the online qualifiers, they work just the same way. You can participate, register in those, and participate with your team. And maybe, who knows, you will be the next one on the big stage against some of our competitors here.
Maybe you'll be the next Team Secret. Maybe you'll be the next G2.
Yeah.
That could be really exciting for anybody out there. And I mean, also, it's a really big celebration of everything Rainbow Six Siege has to offer. It's a celebration for the dev team, too. We're going to be there. Max is going to be there. Carrie's going to be there. And hopefully, Dizzle and his team will be there as well. What do you think about the Six Invitational, and what are your guys' chances of qualifying for this year?
I mean, I think it's pretty strong. We might try and make a DreamHack appearance, maybe. We'll see.
Nice. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, logically, I think Winter would be a good one, being that if slots are already filled by a couple of teams, then maybe you don't have to win it, but you can, enter the semis. Like I think Vitality made their way here. But we've got, you know, a couple of chances leading up to our Pro League, as well as the online qualifiers as well. So there's still plenty of room in our region to
Obviously,
qualify.
the easiest pathway is that Pro League slot, but there are many ways to qualify. Now, Max, when are tickets available?
Yeah, so the tickets are available in the months. Right now, you can just be prepared. Tell your family, tell your friends, just be aware. You have time, be prepared. And on September 27th, this was already. Last year, they sold out really quickly. Of course, there will be way more. We keep on increasing the size of the venue. We want to welcome more fans to this event. This is really the biggest celebration of Siege. So it's for everyone in the community. And you can try to attend starting on the 27th.
Great. So, yeah, bigger event, bigger venue. Bigger, awesome prize pool.
Yeah.
Hopefully $1 million.
Yeah, hopefully. No, of course, I'm confident.
Confident about that. Great. So, with that said, let's get back to the 6 majors. Thank you guys so much for joining me, Max, Carrie, and Dizzle. Thank you guys so much for taking your time to be a part of this panel and go through all the details. But we have a lot more esports left to play. We have Rogue versus EG coming up right after this.